The Ohio Water Polo Referees Association, fostering the development of water polo officials.
Okay, so we're watching a game. What will I see in here? You guys know you're going to hear lots of whistles. You're going to see referees pointing in directions. You're going to see swimmers going back and forth, right? We are really trying to control the action with those whistle blasts, right? Single whistles are mostly for ordinary fouls where we're not really – the ball just kind of keeps going that direction. That's why it's called an ordinary foul. Those are happening all over the place. I've got some videos on that. Single whistles are going to be ordinary fouls. Double whistles are going to be contra fouls or offensive fouls. That might sound like tweet, we point in the other direction. And then multiple whistles are generally going to be a timeout or an exclusion or a penalty or the end of the quarter or something else. So we try and reserve single whistles for ordinary only. Double whistles for kind of offensive fouls, like maybe pushing off or two hands or something like that. And then exclusions, which we're going to talk about, are those personal fouls where the team kind of goes man up or 6-on-5 or something like that. You might hear folks yelling. Again, you can at any time. I'm not monitoring the chat, so don't put questions in the chat. Just unmute yourself and say, hey, chat, got a question about that. Probably stop about every 4 or 5 slides and check to make sure that my speed is going okay here. What we like to tell people is in just about every sport, right, the whistle means stop. The referee is about to administer some sort of penalty. It could be a foul reporting to the table in basketball. It could be a yellow flag in football. In hockey, sometimes the whistle blows and, the penalty box, that kind of thing. In our sport, the whistle generally means go because something has happened that's going to generate a free throw, and generally off of free throws are where the offense is generated a lot of the time. Exclusions, players are going to swim to their benches and sit out for about 20 seconds, right? That exclusionary, we call it. You'll also hear that called ejection, but trying to stick with referee verbiage here. So it's actually in the rule book noted as an exclusion. So an exclusion is the same as an ejection, or you might hear people yelling, that's a kick out or something like that. Something I think people get a little bit confused on sometimes is that fouls aren't always whistled, right? So we as referees are tasked with refereeing to the advantage of the offense. And sometimes whistling that foul benefits the defense more, so we don't whistle that, right? So we look at what ordinary foul is going to benefit the offense the most, or should we just let the play go? Sometimes a player gets inside and we want her to keep going, so we choose to not blow that whistle and just kind of let that play happen. Sometimes an ordinary foul inside 6 meters means that player cannot shoot now. If she's able to kick away and maybe get that shot or continue, we don't want to kind of prevent her from becoming a shooter. So we don't always whistle fouls when we see them. I just talked about that. Is there a pass to be made? Is defense in better position? So that's just, sometimes you're like, she's hanging on her. Well, there's this whole other play happening on the other side of the pool that might generate some sort of offense. So we're not going to whistle that. We as refs, we try and restore that which was lost, right? So if it's positional, it is probably going to be a personal foul, which is an exclusion or a penalty. If it's possession, just kind of loss of the ball, we'll generally restore that with an ordinary foul. So those are just kind of those two buzzwords that we use, position or possession. So that's kind of just the whole thing about general overall referee philosophy, right? So without seeing any faces on the screen, I'm going to assume that I'm going okay. If I'm going too fast and somebody wants to jump in real quick and say, whoa, slow down, Chad, you're going too fast, you can do that now. Okay. Let's talk about the field of play. I'm just going to pull up this next slide here. I think you can see my cursor on the screen. The numbers in water polo are, we kind of number them this way as coaches and referees. We're really trying to get to the numbering system, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goes around the top. 1 is on the deepest left-hand side. Sometimes that's called the left wing. 2 is a little bit farther up. Sometimes that's called the left flat. 3 is kind of up at the top. Sometimes that's called the point. And then 4 and 5 would be the right flat and the right wing. The 6th position is often just called the center forward position. Sometimes it's called the hole, but as we've kind of evolved a little bit as a sport and tried to use more appropriate names, it's actually just kind of called the center forward or the 2-meter position, because that player kind of hangs out at this 2-meter right here. And then everybody else has a defender with them. X1 guards the 1, X2, X3, X4, and then the center defender down here in front of the cage. That's where a lot of those ejections, we call them exclusions, are going to happen. And that's where a lot of the referees, the attack referee down here to the right, that's a lot where his or her eyes are going to be trained, looking for a change of position based upon a foul, or if the ball comes in, a loss of possession might be an ordinary foul. But that's kind of where the referees are looking. The green triangles are kind of the areas that referees are concerned with, right? So this backcourt referee up here at about 6-7 meters, he or she is looking at almost all of the pairs on the perimeter. The attack referee is kind of watching his or her feet and the center forward, again, looking for the change of position based upon pulling, holding, or sinking, or pulling back. And then there's an overlap up here at the 4. Generally, the backcourt referee is getting that, and the front court referee is just getting his or her feet and the center. So sometimes, like when there's a foul missed over here, you just kind of need, as referees, we're kind of wondering, wait, what did we miss, or where should our eyes be looking? It kind of depends on where the ball is as well. But the other thing about these positions is that they're always changing over, right? If there's a steal and the counterattack starts going this way to the left on the screen, and the ball's at the 1 position, the attack referee and the backcourt referee kind of have to talk about turning that over from backcourt to front court, which is why those headsets are really coming into vogue and are super duper helpful for referees who are willing to use them. So just a little bit about the layout of the pool and how referees are covering that. Again, we've added the 6-meter line out here. So now there's kind of this exclusion sort of offensive advantage kind of sort of area that happens from 2 meters to 6 meters. Used to stop at 5. Now that's extended 1 more meter out to 6, which we can talk about in some depth. Again, seeing some of the names on here, I know that some of you guys know this stuff. Penalty throws are still taken at 5 meters. So the course hasn't changed too much in width and depth or length, or I guess you could say. But we did extend it out to 6 meters. So that's why there's that new yellow cone sitting at 6, and there's a red cone at 5 meters for where penalty throws are taken. Okay, goals. For those of you who have never seen a game before, looks like I was looking for a goal back there. I was actually looking for something else. Goals are 10 feet wide, 3 feet high. Oftentimes, if you go to a shallow, deep pool, it looks like that shallow end is super high. How does the goalie even defend that? Well, goalies are allowed to stand on the bottom in shallow pools. And the mathematical formula is basically if the pool is less than 5 feet deep, the goal is 8 feet off the bottom of the pool. So Milford, for instance, has like a 3-foot shallow end, I think. So 8 feet minus 3 feet means the goal is going to be 5 feet off the top of the water. If you go to Upper Arlington, they have like a 4, maybe even 4.5 foot deep shallow end. So it would be 8 minus 4 feet. So that's why that goal is only 4 feet off the surface of the water. So that's just kind of the formula for that. Timeouts. Everyone's getting 3 per game of varying length. Can be called by the offense at any time. The offense in possession, they can call a timeout. Before a penalty throw, they could call a timeout. After an exclusion, after a goal, either team can call timeout. The defense can call a timeout anytime after the offense has called it, with the exception of before a penalty throw. Generally 3 per game in a standard varsity game, but at these tournaments, we're trying to kind of keep those on a pretty good clip there. So oftentimes those are shortened to 1 or 2 timeouts of about 1 to 2 minutes. And then sometimes there's a setup timeout, which is 30 seconds. I should note on this slide, actually, it's 3 full timeouts and 1. We do have a 30-second timeout in NFHS. So I guess actually you get 3.5 timeouts. You want to think about it that way. Game length, mostly 7 minutes in length. JV is usually 6 minutes in length. These are the varsity games like in a state tournament. There's a 30-second shot clock across the board. That's different from NCAA women's. NCAA has a 35-second shot clock. The exclusion clock is 20 seconds at all levels, and just about it's 20 seconds in every rules book I can think of. And like I said, game length sometimes tournaments will kind of mess with that just to kind of save time and not exhaust players. So kind of where we are with that. We are getting close to some videos here. So the start of play, right? We know that teams line up on the goal line and we sprint to start the quarter. Those of you, I'm sure you guys, just about everybody has seen a water polo game, but let me see here. I can throw this in the chat room. If you want to watch a sprint, this is what a sprint looks like. Teams line up on the wall. If they can touch the wall, if one or both sprinters can touch the wall, you should start from the wall. If neither sprinter can start from the wall, you can start from the goal line, kind of with your head on the goal line. So I just threw a YouTube link in there that talks about what a sprint looks like. I'll let you give you, it's like 14 seconds, I think. Okay. Checking on time. Steve, you've jumped in already once. How am I doing on time, and are these videos going to be helpful? Yeah, my thing's here jacked up. I got my sprint going. Where'd my thing go? Okay. Okay. Next thing is method of scoring, right? It's weird. Like in soccer, the lines are a little bit different than in water polo, right? Like I think the lines are in play in water polo, whereas the lines in water polo are out of play. The reason why that's important is because the goal line actually completes itself when the ball gets completely inside the goal. So you can kind of see from this. I mean, if any part of the ball is sticking outside the face of the goal, it is going to be it's going to still be in play. Once that ball gets all the way inside the goal, that's when we're going to count it as a goal. So hopefully that illustration helps. You know, sometimes referees it's why referees try and get inside 2 meters so we can best see that ball on the face of the goal and to see if it's all the way in. But again, if any part of that ball is sticking out, it is still in play. Whereas like in football, once the ball breaks the plane of the end zone, I think it's a touchdown straight away. It doesn't have to go all the way in or past the line or something like that. So after a goal, all players going to line up in their defensive halves of the pool, and the ball can start anywhere in there. For some reason, most teams start with the ball right at mid pool and throw the ball back. That is not a rule. That ball can start with the goalie. That ball can start all the way over on the right or all the way over on the left, 3 meters back, 8 meters back, 12 meters back. Just has to start in that half of the pool. But all players have to start on their defensive half of the field. So that's how we restart after a goal. Goal throws. Ball passes completely over the goal line, last touched by any player other than the defending goalkeeper. So the only time there's a corner throw is if the goalie blocks the ball over the goal line and is the last player to touch it. It'll be a corner throw. There's also, I'm getting ahead of myself. So goal throws, any player that last touches the ball, it's going to be a goal throw unless it goes in the goal, right? If it's a tipped pass, it's going to be a corner throw. It might be starting to get a little bit advanced, but let's say we were to throw the ball from the 1 to the 5 position and X5 were to reach up and kind of knock that ball away and it goes out of bounds over the goal line. That would be a corner throw also because it wasn't a shot. But anything else is going to be a goal throw unless the goalie touches it last. Goal throws just need to be taken inside 2 meters. They can be taken by anybody. Sometimes people think it's a goalie throw. It's not. It's simply called a goal throw. Any player can take a goal throw as long as he or she is inside 2 meters, right? We talked about corner throws already. We won't go over that too much. Ball passes over the goal line, last touch by a defending goalkeeper or deliberately by a defensive player. That would be that tip pass I was talking about. That'll result in a corner throw, which is a new shot clock, which is kind of a big deal. And now players can shoot directly from corner throws or pop the ball and shoot. So corner throws have now become, whereas they used to kind of be maybe a way to reset your offense, corner throws now are more advantageous for the offense in many ways because that player is now a shooter. So that's just kind of a thing. And then neutral throws, let's say a referee throws the ball in incorrectly. There's simultaneous ordinary fouls, and one referee points this way and one referee points that way. If there's a double exclusion and neither team has possession of the ball, that would be a neutral throw. And then if there's an overhead obstruction, say a diving board, or at a shallow pool, if it accidentally goes up, maybe a shot off the post and goes up and hits like one of the overhead girders or something like that, holding up the roof. Milford has a lower roof. I think maybe Norwood might have that also. If we're to hit something like that, that would be a neutral throw. So let's talk a little bit about free throws. Now this is updated, right? Free throws were taken at the location of the ball, regardless of where the foul occurs. This is meant to speed up play. Before, last year, or under the old rules, I should say, this rule book started in 2020, but there was no rule book, or there was no water polo in 2020 for high school. Before, if there was an exclusion, the ball had to come back to the spot. The ball does not have to come back to the spot anymore. In fact, it is taken exactly where it is, unless it's inside 2 meters, and we have to move it back outside 2 meters. But other than that, the ball is put in play straight away by the wherever it is. So we are putting the ball in play. I don't think I have a slide on this. Let me talk a little bit about it. We are now, you're probably seeing a lot of players pop the ball now. That is one of 2 or 3 ways to put the ball in play. So how we put the ball in play now is to put air around the ball. You can see that kind of this last bullet point here. Pop the ball, air around the ball, clearly invisible to all people in the pool, right? You know, there's that thing in football. Sometimes they say if 2 guys or 2 people sitting in a bar determine that it was a catch, by God, the rules should make that a catch. If we're watching water polo and it's clear that the player put the ball in play, then off we go. If it's unclear, then maybe we need to make sure that players are putting that in play. This is going to be a learning curve for players and referees alike to stay consistent on this, because it's a big foul if you don't put the ball in play, depending upon where the ball is. So pop the ball up into the air around the ball, clearly invisible is one way. You can also put the ball in play on free throws by passing the ball to someone else. So again, it's going to leave your hand. There's going to be air around the ball. You can pick the ball up and set it in front of you and dribble with the ball. You have to pick it up and set it in front of you, though. You can't just start dribbling with it. There were a lot of turnovers this past weekend at Princeton for that. And the last thing is to pop, throw, round. Transfer the ball above the water, right? So if I were to take the ball left or right, that's going to be putting the ball in play, because there's probably going to be air around the ball. As it leaves my left and right hand, there has to be air, because otherwise it would be 2 hands. So a quick transfer above the water. You cannot slide the ball across the top of the water, and the rule book makes mention of that. So those are the ways to put the ball in play. Players get a reasonable amount of time, is what the rule book says. It used to be like 3 seconds or something. Now the phrasing in there is a reasonable amount of time. Basically, for referees, if there's no defender around, we're a little more tolerant about giving the player a little bit of extra time. But if a player is waiting to pounce on that and play defense, we want to give her the opportunity to go do that. And if she's waiting to see air around the ball, then we as referees need to make sure that there's enough, a reasonable amount of time for the player to put the ball in play. But they also can't just wait, because now that kind of stymies the defense a little bit. So that's what a reasonable amount of time there. The other thing about free throws that I'll mention here, again, I know we've got some experienced folks on the call, but or some fans that have seen a lot of water polo. If the foul and the ball, I'm going to change that. Ball and foul is actually the phrase we're using. If ball and foul are outside 6 meters, that player can now shoot the ball directly, immediately, or she can make the ball live, pop it to herself, pick it up, drop it on the water, transfer it above the water, left to right, throw it in front and start swimming, and can shoot the ball now anywhere in the pool. So it could start at 8 meters. That player can pop, put the ball in play, swim all the way into 1 meter, and throw it in the back of the goal, and that would be a goal. It does not have to be intentionally played by 2 players other than the goalie now. So what that does for referees is if there is maybe a pullback at maybe mid-pool, last year we would have had to think to ourselves, oh gosh, can she still keep swimming? I don't want to take that away from her because she either has to pick it up and shoot it from 12.5 meters away mid-pool, or she'll have to dribble it, in which case she's not a shooter. If her whole team is behind her, it kind of neuters the counterattack a little bit. Well, now we can whistle that exclusion in mid-pool. She can pick that ball up, throw it in front of her, and continue to dribble and go down, and she's a shooter. So that's kind of a big deal with free throws now. Okay. Free throws are generated from 2 different things, right? Ordinary fouls or personal fouls, exclusions, right? Besides those goal throws, neutral throws, corner throws, and restarts. Ordinary fouls are things that happen in the game, such as standing on the bottom, pulling on a lane line, something like that, being helped by a teammate, especially on the sprint is where you might see that. If the ball is put underwater and tackled, ball under is where the ball goes underwater on the dark team and the white team makes contact from the shoulder down, right? Anything else is not tackling the ball underwater, and the ball has to go under. And that's one thing as water polo referees, where I wouldn't say we're inconsistent, but we're inconsistent between areas of the country, right? If you go to California, ball under is going to happen really fast. St. Louis going to happen really fast. Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and more towards the East Coast, even southeast in Florida, a little bit slower to call ball under. So we're trying to norm ourselves around that. But the rule that several of us have been kind of told is that if the ball goes under, you can go ball under, then it's ball under. If the ball goes under, you go ball, and then it comes right up off the surface of the water. I don't really know that that's ball under. So that is one of the most debated things amongst referees. So that's ball under. Pushing off a player, right? We saw that a lot this weekend. If the defense is trying to come at me and I'm braced here, or I'm even braced here, Greg and I are kind of learning a little bit that even if it's a little bit below the water, that is impeding, which is a contra foul. And also, again, just kind of shoving off a player to get open. You'll see that at the center forward position oftentimes. Let's say the ball's on the 5 and the defender is what we call ball side. So it goes ball, defender, offense. Sometimes you'll see that offense push off and yell, backdoor and kind of back up. That push off, if that generates space and the defense can't recover in time, we're going to whistle that as a contra foul. Offsides, if the ball goes inside 2 meters, if the player is inside 2 meters ahead of the ball and remains there or affects the defensive structure, we're going to call offsides. Sometimes newer referees are a little bit too quick to whistle that, probably appropriately. If the ball is remember our numbers here, if the ball is way over on the 5 or the right wing and the left wing is like way against the wall and she's at 1 meter, she's not really affecting play. We as referees should probably let that go. If she camps out there, becomes a little bit more legit to call it. But just because a player is inside 2 meters does not necessarily make them offsides. Again, refereeing to the advantage of the offense here. How much does that affect play? I will say if a player swims inside 2 meters to get position, sometimes you'll see some offenses, if there's a drop defense or a crash and the center forward is out at about 4 or 5 meters, sometimes they'll swim an offensive player behind there to generate movement on the defense. If that player swims inside 2, it's automatic offsides because you can't do that. And then ball out of play is going to be also another ordinary foul. If you fail to take the free throw or penalty throw, we've already talked about that. Shot clocks, 30 seconds, talk about that. Team not ready to start. That's kind of you won't see that very much. And then an improper shot on goal. Let's say, remember we said ball in, foul outside 6. Let's say the ball is inside 6 and there's a foul at 7 and that player picks up and shoots, that's an improper shot on goal. Let's say we whistle an exclusion at the center and the ball is at 8 meters, that player cannot shoot. Remember, ball and foul have to be outside 6. That would be an improper shot on goal. The other thing about ordinary fouls, and I've got a string of videos here, is that if a player has the ball, we don't really whistle fouls, right? If she's holding the ball, you can't do whatever you want. You can't chop at her or go through the head or something like that. That's going to be an exclusion. But really, ordinary fouls are a way for referees to help the ball move around the pool, right? So if I've got the ball and I'm looking to pass it that way and the defense is pushing down on my shoulder and I let go of the ball, it's likely to be an ordinary foul if it's a real heavy sink. What we're really looking for as referees is for that player, me, to try and make what's called a quarter turn, right? So you think about the face of a clock. If this is 12 o'clock, you really want that ball to kind of try and go forward to like 9 o'clock and to turn the shoulders, and probably that defender's hand's going to be out here. And as I turn, I'm going to knock into that arm. Ball's going to be dislodged. I'm going to be prevented from going around that person because that person's kind of holding down here. That's going to be an ordinary foul. That's an example of an ordinary foul. Sometimes if I'm up top here and the defense just comes and kind of, knocks on my arm and knocks the ball away. If it's really dislodged, it's an ordinary foul. If I can pick it up again or step and pass, we'd really like as referees to not whistle that stuff. But that's kind of what, those are kind of some ordinary fouls. I have.
They're helpful for sure. Thank you.
Oh, great. Okay, good. Thank you. So those ordinary fouls that, thank you for that feedback. The ordinary fouls that you watch there, it's just kind of this, you just kind of saw 6 to 8 of them, I think. And they're all just kind of the player reaching, fouling, ball being dislodged, whistle, off we go, right? It's ordinary. Those are just ordinary plays that happen in the water. Again, as you've watched, hopefully that explanation of while we're looking at that quarter turn, I will say this: sometimes you'll see the player and she'll have the ball here and she'll just kind of go like this and drop the ball and just kind of go like this. Well, the defense really isn't impeding her from doing anything. So as referees, we don't always whistle those because the defense isn't doing anything to prevent her. This is what she wants to do, and the defense is allowing her to do that. So we don't blow the whistle. If she tries to go somewhere and gets held or kind of impeded or ball gets knocked loose, well, then she can't go do that thing, which is why we call the ordinary foul. So those are some ordinary fouls. Let's talk a little bit about personal fouls. Players get 3 before they foul out, right? So basketball is 5. I feel like the NBA is 6. I can't remember last time I watched an NBA basketball game. But players get 3. On the third one, they are finished. Personal fouls are exclusion fouls, that thing where they go swim in the corner, and penalties, that thing where the team kind of gets the free shot from 5 meters, kind of looks like a penalty kick in soccer. Both count towards that number of 3. So that's a big deal, right? Sometimes if a player there was a game I was reffing, 14 for Upper Arlington, had 2 exclusions and before halftime. And she was in the third quarter and she was kind of getting pulled into the center forward position on defense. She's like, no, somebody else get in here. So players kind of know how many they have and how they can try and get out of the center forward, which kind of generates this whole other excitement part of the game, because if you can get someone with 2 into the center forward, sometimes they won't defend, right? There's a player for one of the college teams that we've refereed this year where she's their primary center forward defender. And after she gets 2, that ball comes in, she just goes hands up, which I don't really know why she's in there anymore. She's just going to go hands up, but she doesn't want to get her 3rd is kind of the phrase. So let's talk about exclusion fouls, right? Interfering with a free throw. That's something that, I was telling you get that reasonable amount of time to put the ball in play. So the player, we whistle an ordinary, player has to back up about a meter. And the reason why it's a meter is because if that player wants to shoot the ball directly, we want that player to be able to shoot the ball directly and not have their throwing motion impeded by any physical defense, right? So if you think about a meter, right, 39 inches, player can come up and complete that shot without making physical contact with somebody. That's why players have to back up. If you interfere with that, you are going to be excluded for 20 seconds. Swim over to your bench. That 6-on-5 thing, you'll see the structure kind of move into a 4-2 offense. if you block or attempt to block a shot or pass outside 6 meters, like if I'm getting ready and you didn't back up all the way, that's what that is. Splashing is a foul in water polo. Players that are super duper smart about it, they'll know when to splash. You'll generally see that in 6-on-5s when a team has to defend 6 players with just 5. You can kind of get away with maybe a splash up at the 4 or 5 spot. Other exclusion fouls. There's one more slide here, and then I've got 3 sets of videos for you to watch. The big ones with exclusion fouls are holding, sinking, or pulling back, right? Especially at the center forward position. So if I'm playing behind and that ball comes in front of me here, to the offensive player. Oh, that's fun. There's a water polo ball and a water polo ball. Comes in front of me here, and there's a player in front of me. If that player goes to reach and I grab that player and prevent her from going and getting the ball, that's going to be holding, sinking, or pulling back, right? If there's a player in front of me, we're going to see some videos of this. If there's a player in front of me that has positional advantage and that ball can come in front, if I pull back on her feet or I sink into her lower back and kind of bend her like a banana is how I was coached. One of the referees who was kind of helping me, mentor me, said, when you see that offensive player bend like a banana, it's because they're sinking into that lower back. That's an exclusion. If that player is swimming towards the goal and they're getting ready to shoot, if you sink them from behind and kind of make their body sink into the water, that's another exclusion. Sometimes at the center forward position, to get position, I was telling you about who's swimming around where. If I want to get to that side of her and I pull her around so I can get in front rather than swimming around or spinning around that player, and there's a change of position because I held, sink, or pull back, those are going to be what those big exclusions are. Like I said, I've got 3 sets that'll kind of help with that. Kicking or striking are, hello? It's my dog. Kicking and striking are exclusion fouls. It's generally kicking off or pushing off. Anything above the water is going to be a game misconduct, probably even a flagrant misconduct. Misconduct fouls could be, things where taunting could be misconduct. Interfering with deliberately throwing the ball away could be misconduct. Flagrant misconduct is NFHS's verbiage for brutality. If you're a USA water polo person, it's the same thing. Those are going to be punches or kicks above the water, elbows above the water. And then entering the field improperly, like when you're not allowed to come in. If you come in too early as a sub or you're an 8th player in the water, those are also exclusion fouls.
Hey, Chad.
Yes.
If it would be possible for, like, on your next video, if you would just like play it on the screen and then talk over it and then kind of explain it, it would be more helpful to me. But I know there's noise, crowd noise and stuff too. So I don't know if you can turn that volume down and then just explain what we're watching. I don't know if that's possible or not.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good suggestion. I can try. What I've noticed on Zoom is that because we're grabbing so much video that sometimes it's very herky-jerky and it kind of pauses and hangs a little bit. I will say for referees, we're generally talking about that one super tiny piece of it, instead of like the actual hold or pull back. So let me try something here. I'll try it.
I appreciate it. If you can't do it, no worries.
No, yeah, that's a good suggestion here. Let me play and load this here, and I'll kind of try, and we'll see if we'll see how this goes. Okay, so I go here, I share my YouTube screen. Okay, so let me get that guy shrunk here. Okay. So Amy, can you see the YouTube screen right now? Or maybe that was Emily.
Yeah, that's Emily. Yeah, I can.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Emily. Sorry. I couldn't remember who it was. Oh, that's right. Okay. So if we're watching here, right now, as I pause it, hopefully you can see the ball out here at the 5 position. Can you see my arrow Emily, as I'm doing this?
Yes. Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right. We'll give this a go. This would be so much better if I could do this. Right now, the referee is watching where the ball is and watching. This is the defense is on the back side here, right? So defense is dark. Watch when that ball comes in, this player is trying to make a move to get around, and this player holds her. Now, if it's out here at 6, 7, 8 meters, it's probably an ordinary foul. But remember I said this yellow cone right here is now out at 6 meters, and it kind of becomes this offensive, kind of this trapezoid, sometimes called the kill zone. I don't really know if that's a great term for it. But basically, you draw a line from the post out to about 4 meters and then up to 6 and then across. You can kind of vision almost looking like a home plate in baseball and down, right? So we could draw this pentagon here. Watch what happens when the ball comes in. Good pass. See that? You see that turn right there? She's trying to make that quarter turn. This is her right arm. The defender's right arm is reaching for that ball across the top side, I call it, right? So she's kind of primed to being turned. The reason why that player, the white player, could not complete the turn was because dark was holding, sinking, or pulling back. Because it happens that close to the goal, it kind of ratchet up the foul from an ordinary to an exclusion. Does that help?
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Great. Okay. So we'll do that on the next. So we'll just kind of watch it live back one more time. Just make that turn. Exclusion. It's a good call. Let's see. I need to watch this one, see what it is. It's going to be the same thing. What you're going to watch for here, that one was more pull back. This one is going to be hold. You're going to see the white defender here. I think if I remember correctly, you only see her left arm come out of the water. As a referee, if you see the defense playing behind, when it comes into the center forward, you either need to go both hands up or you need to keep hands at water level. If they're down, we're going to assume, especially in the women's game, that it's a suit grab. So let me see if yes. So you got left hand up here. Right hand is still down because she's holding her. She's holding her until X2 and X4 from the drop here can go and get that ball. Because dark cannot snap to the ball, we can assume that she's holding. So let's watch that one. Watch that one again. Back there. Okay. Okay, so watch that pass come in. Again, defense playing behind. Right hand down, left hand goes up. Yeah, that's a hold. She knows it right away. Yeah, same thing. Again, on all three of these videos, defense behind in video 1. Defense behind in video 2. Defense behind in video 3. This is the exact same play. It's just at the other end. It's a different game, but it's the exact same play. This time, right arm is up. Left hand is holding him, so he can't go get that ball. On all of these, ball, offense, defense. The last play down here, but it was actually taken from a different camera angle. The camera angle was more this way. Ball, defense, offense. With the very first video, was trying to make that right hand turn. So if you just kind of watch, he can't go get that ball because he's being held. This guy's in really, really, really crappy position. He actually got beat on a drive coming in. You can't. I don't think I had the video back far enough, but he's already beat on the drive. Ball comes over. White maintains ball side position. He gets super late. He stays in this body position the entire time, which is kind of this, where his hips are totally the wrong position. This is a real easy call for a referee because it's really a foul of position. So that's just White try and go. Yeah, it's another exclusion there. Got 2 more here. Yeah, I don't like this. It's the correct foul, but it is referee should have exhibited more patience. I think this guy right here is going to get in. You're going to see him just take 2 hands and sink the center forward. And then he's going to release, and the center forward's going to snap away and pick up the ball at like 4 meters. And as a referee, you really want him to finish, but it's a sink. It's an okay exclusion. I'd like to see a little bit more patience, but watch, he's going to sink heavy, right? Look at this. I mean, he is just killing that guy right here. What can you see where White's sinking dark there? Big time. He's just sinking him. Then he's going to snap away and get hands up. And Dark's gonna snap away from the defense and pick up the ball at the time the referee's whistling the exclusion. So, I mean, oh boy, you do not want to whistle one there as a referee, but that's okay. I've done it before too. So, same thing again. Let's look at position, right? Back on, the defense is behind. Drop is kind of there. Good pass. Comes in. That right hand there, you can actually see this is his right hand right there. If we could get super close, his right hand right there, holding, sinking, or pulling back inside now 6 meters, right? 6 meter line would be there. Dark cannot play the ball, can't do anything with it. Okay, so those are kind of they. Just for giggles, we'll just watch all those through. I don't know again how this is transmitting live, but pull back. Hold. Hold. Sink. God, geez, man, he was riding for a really, and then he holds his hands up, whatever. And then this is going to be a pullback. Yeah, good call. Good calls. I like it. Does that help, Emily?
Yeah, that helped a lot. Thank you.
Super. Great. Okay, so I'm going to stop that share and start. I've got my camera elevated. I'm trying a new position on the my camera because I've got 2 monitors I'm working from here. Okay, so hopefully you can see we're back on the PowerPoint. Let's talk about overly physical fouls at the center forward position here, or actually I think overly physical fouls anywhere. Let me, I think in the chat, I've got overly physical fouls. That's the link there. But up here, let's get these guys here. And I'll stop that. And I will start that. These are all overly physical fouls, right? So I wouldn't call these fouls of violence, which would be flagrant fouls. These are more just super hard fouls, right? So if you're watching the screen, ball's going to come up here to White. White's got really odd structure here. You're going to watch this defender from the top side. And the referee does a very good job of demonstrating what she does. She comes in and chops super hard at this young lady here with the ball. And you'll see how this is an exclusion. I mean, you see that? Yikes. That is really bad. And then the referee does that chopping motion. The coach doesn't understand what it was, but it's pretty clear that heavy foul right there. I think the next one it's kind of comical, but yeah, this is it. So Dark is on offense here. He's going to throw maybe a lob shot or just a block, and he's actually just going to grab the goalie's head and kind of pull him back. So that's kind of an overly physical foul. It's pretty clear. It's off the top post. Like, yeah, you can see his swimming. This is his right hand on the goalie's head right here. This could even potentially be a game misconduct. Like you're out and you're done for the game. I mean, we can't have players grabbing people's heads. I'm laughing about it because it's so audacious. But those are just 2 examples of overly physical fouls where referees are going to step in, and player safety is job 1 for referees. Both of these are instances where the game can spin out of control in a hurry. Now, this is the 4th quarter with 5 minutes to go. So maybe something happened earlier, but this is a referee making a really good call here to maintain player safety and control of the game. So the next one, I'm just going to go straight to it, are counterattacks and drives exclusions. I'll put it in the chat here also, just so you can save it and take a look if you want. Come on. But I think I call this counters and drives. There. Let's watch these guys. These again are going to be fouls on position, which are going to generate exclusions. And I've got just a couple more slides here. I try and aim for 8 o'clock here, the latest. Could talk about this for days. Positions happening right here. Positional exchange. Dark is being beaten down the pool by white. Right there. White is now ahead of dark. Dark is going to recover positional advantage by just holding white. So the ball isn't there, but that is still, he's just sinking him. It's just, yeah. It's a good one. Good whistle. White got ahead of dark. I think, oh yeah. So white up here, or maybe it's dark. Sorry. Dark up here turns white and now has a direct line to the goal on a reverse spin. So now she's ahead. Positionally, she's ahead. White is going to pull back from behind. Now, sometimes as referees, we're looking at angle a little bit. We're looking at defensive help. We're looking at another defensive help. Remember that line would be out there at about 6 meters. But this could potentially be penalty, but I think exclusion is the right call. Penalty might be a little bit overly harsh, but you can see how white recovered the poor position she had. So she had good position right here. She has good position. She has inside water. Dark is able to turn her and get inside water. And the only way she can recover that position is to swim up her back to make that steal. That's how she gets back inside. So that's an exclusion there. I think it's here, maybe. I think it's right here. White is behind. Dark is ahead. Yeah. So referee just determined that this was just too much and it went on for too long. There's a slight kickoff from dark, but that's probably, there's the initial grab, 1. 2, there's another grab. 3, there was a third grab right there where red finally kicked off. Now, as a referee, what I'm looking at here is that this dark player had the ball down here on the 5 position. She can make this pass to her if she would stop holding her, because she loses the 5 position, loses the ability to throw it to her because of these holds. She passes the ball back out here to the 4 spot. As a referee, this referee should probably be whistling it. This referee sees that and says, my gosh, the offensive advantage was really taken away by this hold, this 3-time hold right here. And because of that, dark wasn't able to make that pass. She passed it up here. I have to step in and whistle that again. Attack referees should probably be watching this, but maybe they were on the headsets talking about something else. But yeah, she can't make that pass anymore. She throws it out here. This player needs to be excluded. So that's kind of where you're looking at a whole bunch of players in the water trying to determine. Whole bunch of players in the water trying to determine it. Ahead again, pull back. I think this happens outside 5. Yeah. So this defender, pretty smart. He actually pulls back at about 6-7 meters. Remember, this would be yellow all the way out to here now. But it's one of those where if you're going to pull back, man, pull back outside 6, because it's just an exclusion. If you pull back inside, it'd be a penalty. So pulls back, gets excluded. You'll see it here live time. Just a change of position by a hold, sinker, pull back. And that's how we get exclusions there. Last one. Yeah. Oh, it's a good call. Man, that's a good call. Let's watch that drive there. Right. This guy gets beat really bad. Right there. Look at that first. Golly, that's a really good first stroke. First stroke for Dark, ball side drive, meaning he's on the side of the ball. Takes a really good first stroke. He's horizontal. He's vertical. The only way this guy can recover is to just kind of use all of his momentum to get behind him, hold, sinker, pull back, preventing Dark from throwing that ball forward because of it. So late on that drive. Not the same thing, right? Dark could have passed the ball to his teammate, but because this guy was just killing him, he had to polish the ball back out here to the 3 spot. And now this, as a referee, restores that which was lost, which was positional, which is why that's an exclusion. So those are just kind of some in-depth analysis of video play here. So yeah. So those are all exclusion fouls. Let's talk penalty throws, right? We'll watch a few penalty videos here. And like I said, I'm sorry, I could talk about this all day. I love doing this stuff. Penalty fouls are all of those exclusion fouls that happen inside 6 meters now. Fouls from behind, which prevent a probable goal while the player is in possession of the ball and contact is made from the wrist down. That's a penalty. We'll go like this. We'll hold up 5 fingers because we take them from the 5. You'll hear that called 5 meters sometimes too, but it's really the technical term is a penalty throw. Those things, they need to prevent a probable goal. You're swimming up the back, ball's in front, they're dribbling, and you're just killing them there. New rule this year, if the player was holding the ball last year, you could hit the arm and dislodge the ball, and it was no foul because the player was holding the ball. Now you have to make contact with the hand or the ball, otherwise it will be a penalty. So for some of you guys that are on here that have seen plenty of water polo in your time, it's a rule change. Now the ball, any contact from the wrist down is going to be a penalty regardless of holding the ball or not. And you take a penalty throw, which is like kind of that free shot from 5 meters, can't defend it. I'm going to stay on this shared screen here and watch these guys. And that is it for the night. If you got to sign off, completely understand. I know I said it was about an hour, but I said I got all hyped doing this stuff. So kind of a mess. This is the same referee crew, the same Cuesta game here. Remember before that ball was coming up and that player pulled back right about there. This is almost the exact same body position, right? Dark is in front of White. The only difference is that White is going to pull back when we're inside what was 5 meters and now will be 6 meters. And there's that change of position. He's just laying into his back. Now, both of his hands are up. That's something of note. Both of his hands are up, but look at where his elbow is. His elbow is right into the kind of the middle of his back, right about where your trapezius muscles insert there, which really prevent you from rearing up and getting a shot. So yes, your hands are up, but very, very tactically hands are up, but he is impeding with that elbow if you watch. So see that? Yeah, that extra elbow there. We need those hands to go up. This guy Dark just can't go anywhere because he's being impeded. I think this goes to the center forward. Okay, so this is going to be a center forward. It's going to make a really strong turn. This defender is going to release him, hands up, and I think maybe this defender comes in on the backside and just kind of buries him. Like again, kind of. I wish I could point out. He kind of pushes on him right there and prevents him from completing the turn to the goal. So watch the defense. See, really good defense. He got beat. He knows it. He's showing the referee hands. Do not whistle me for a personal foul. My hands are up. I'm not holding, sinking, or pulling back. But his teammate drops down to help and continues on and sinks him right there, preventing him from taking a clean shot at the goal. So we'll watch that one more time. Defense does a very good job of showing hands, realizes he's in poor defensive position, immediately shows hands to the referee. But this the number 4 here, that backside help, doesn't help because he sinks him as he's going to the goal. Their strength is their size and strength. Yeah. Pretty easy penalty. Good call. This is just a straight up steal going down to the other end. Again, this is a foul inside 5. White does a good job of trying to get back. Now he's just riding him. Oh, it was that extra move. Gosh, I don't know if you can see it or not, but that change of position right there. White, watch how 14 gets ahead of dark. It's a pull around, right? He kind of pulls and he pulls his way by. If I could go slow-mo, it'd be awesome. But that move, see that move right there? That is the penalty move, right? That sink, look at that sink. That's pretty blatant sink right there. So that's going to be a penalty. Maybe one more, maybe 2 more. Same ball ahead, driving all the way in, just gets killed from behind. Both these players are behind. Change. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Yep. Penalty. I think there might be one more. It's heavy at the center. Oh my gosh, look at that. Holy cow. Pretty decent patience by the referee. A sophisticated call by the referee in that, donde está? In that, it's pretty heavy at the center forward position, I think, right? He could whistle an exclusion at any time here, but the ball can't get in there from this position. When Dark throws the ball over to the 1-2 side, now Dark can get the ball. And look at again, it's always positional. White is behind Dark. Ball's going to come in. White needs to go hands up like we saw that player do like this. He doesn't. He continues forward, impedes progress of Dark, and gets le penalty. So that's a lot on position. Good patience by the official. This is getting physical, but this is a high level CIF game. This is going to be California high school. Gotta let these guys play because these are going to be the guys playing for UCLA and USC that we saw yesterday. If you watch NCAA stuff, pretty heavy right here. Can't get the ball in. They pass to a position where he can. Springs free forward. And there is your penalty. So kind of a lot. I know, kind of hard when maybe you're not super adept at knowing what you're looking for. But I had somebody tell me this once as a referee, if you whistle on position alone, you're going to be right 90% of the time. So that's what we try and do. Whistle on position. So if you go to our website here, everything that I just showed you is going to be sitting right about here. Okay. So if you were to jump in there and take a look at the gym and the classroom on there, I've got some videos on how to work the table, how to be the secretary, how to the whole thing. Everything I just went over right there is on this video right here, A Fan's Guide to Understanding Water Polo Rules and Interpretations. It's about 10 minutes. The Ohio Water Polo That's my voice. It's everything I just showed you. And these videos that I just showed you are embedded inside these. Inside here, again, these are all the graphics I just showed. I've got a cursor running around and talking over it. If you want to see, like I just kind of broke down those fouls, the videos that we watch, we talk about, it's an ordinary. I play the one, what a penalty throw looks like, but then we go through everything I just did. There's that pullback. So they're all sitting out there. So if I see we have some coaches on here too. If you want to direct folks to these, I'll be happy to jump on and continue to do this stuff. I don't mind doing it, but sometimes people can go and consume it on their own time. Probably makes just as much sense. And you want to watch it with your kids, or maybe even have your kids explain something or ask questions. Sometimes a little more fun, right? We learn best by teaching. So that's where we are for tonight. I hope this didn't take too much time. I planned on it being shorter, but like I said, I just like to talk water.